Golf can be cruel in a way no other sport can. It doesn't always break you with a disaster shot into the water or a wild hook into the trees. Sometimes it does something even worse. Sometimes it lets you believe. It lets you feel the wind getting closer. It lets you picture the handshake, the smile, the release, the moment every golfer dreams about. And then, right when you think the story is finally about to change, the game reaches back and reminds you who's really in control. Tommy Fleetwood stood there with everything in front of him. The kind of moment that could erase years of frustration in a few swings. One of the most talented players of his generation. One of the most loved players in the game. One shot from safety. One shot from history. And what happened next wasn't just dramatic. It was the kind of moment that stays with golf fans long after the final putt drops. Because this wasn't only about winning. This was about pressure, heartbreak, and what it really means to keep believing when the game gives you every reason not to. And if you truly love golf, if this game means something to you, and if you enjoy stories like this that remind us why we care so deeply, then subscribe and become part of this golf family, because some golf moments are bigger than trophies, and this is one of them. Tommy Fleetwood has always been one of those players fans naturally pull for. Not because he demands attention, not because he tries to be the loudest guy in the room, but because his game is pure, his attitude is grounded, and you can feel how much every close call means to him. He's won around the world. He's starred in Ryder Cups. He's had the respect of players, fans, and analysts for years. But on the PGA Tour, that one win, that one breakthrough, kept slipping away. And that's what made this moment so heavy. It wasn't just another Sunday. It felt like a chance to finally close the gap between how good Tommy Fleetwood is and what the record books say he is. Entering Sunday at the Travelers Championship, he had a 3-shot lead. The door was open. The stage was set. And for golf fans, it felt like maybe, just maybe, this was finally it. But here's the part nobody talks about enough. A lead in golf is never just a number. It's a feeling. It's breathing differently on the first tee. It's hearing the crowd react to every leaderboard change. It's knowing every swing can either calm the nerves or wake them up. And almost immediately, you could sense how fragile that comfort really was. Fleetwood's final round didn't begin like a coronation. It began with doubt. 3 bogeys in his first 4 holes. Just like that, the cushion got thinner. The calm started to disappear. The players chasing him suddenly looked taller, louder, more dangerous. And if you've watched enough golf, you know what happens in those moments. The mind starts racing, not always in panic, sometimes just in whispers. Don't mess this up. Don't let this happen again. But then something happened that tells you everything about Tommy Fleetwood. He didn't fold. He steadied himself. He started hitting quality shots again. He began to look like the player who belonged in front. That stretch from the middle of the round into the back 9 was the version of Tommy fans believe in. Controlled, patient, skilled. The kind of golfer who doesn't chase the course, but slowly takes it back. Birdies on 11 and 13 gave him breathing room again. The round that looked like it might unravel suddenly felt alive again. That's what makes this story hurt and inspire at the same time. He didn't back his way into the finish. He fought for it. He earned another chance at it. And this is where everything changed. Because golf almost never delivers pressure in one giant explosion. It usually builds at one decision at a time. One lie. One wind check. One club selection. One putt left a little too far away. Fleetwood reached the closing stretch with the tournament still in his hands, but the margin was razor thin. On 16, mistakes started getting expensive. On 17, there was no room left to hide. Then came the 72nd hole. 1-hole golf. 1-shot lead. 1 approach. 1 putt. 1 chance to turn years of close calls into a completely different conversation. And here's the detail that makes it feel so painfully human. Fleetwood found the fairway. That should have been comforting. From 148 yards, he first chose a 9-iron, then switched to a wedge. It sounds small. Golf fans know it isn't. Tiny choices become huge when your heartbeat is louder than the crowd. He hit the shot, and it came up short, stopping on the front fringe, around 50 feet from the hole. Not a disaster in the classic sense. Not a water ball. Not a shank. But in elite golf, that was danger. Real danger. Because when you're protecting a 1-shot lead and the guy next to you is firing at the flag, safe can become terrifying in an instant. Wait till you hear what happened next. Keegan Bradley, playing in front of a roaring New England crowd, stepped up and hit one of the shots of his life, stuffing his wedge to about 6 feet. The place erupted. In that moment, the emotional pressure doubled. Fleetwood wasn't just trying to finish. He was suddenly staring at a putt that had to do 2 jobs at once. It had to be cautious enough not to race by, but brave enough not to leave a nervy tester. And that's exactly the poison of championship golf. The shot is never just a shot. It carries the weight of everything before it. Fleetwood's lag putt came up around 7 feet short. Not dead, not comfortable, just one of those putts every golfer watching at home could feel in their chest. The kind you swear looks makeable until you realize what it means. He now had a hole that for par, and if Bradley made birdie, the entire tournament would flip. That's why this moment hit so hard with fans. Because it was brutally relatable, even at the highest level. We've all stood over a putt we didn't want to hit. Maybe not for a PGA Tour title, but for pride, for a score, for a match, for proof. Golf has this way of shrinking the world down to a ball, a blade, and a tiny target, and suddenly nothing else exists. But here's the part that still gets people talking. Fleetwood hit what looked like a good putt. For a moment, it tracked. Then late, it drifted right and missed. Some slowed-down replays suggested the ball may have been nudged by an imperfection on the green. Maybe a spike mark. Maybe a tiny scar. Maybe just golf being golf. And that's what makes it sting even more. Not because it changes the result. It doesn't. Champions deal with everything. But because in a sport decided by inches and fractions, sometimes the line between victory and heartbreak is almost too cruel to look at. Then Bradley rolled his birdie putt straight into the center. Crowd explosion. Tournament over. Fleetwood had led for 71 holes. For 71 holes, he looked like the man who was finally about to get his moment. And in the span of a few minutes, it was gone. That's why this wasn't just a normal loss. It felt like one of those golf moments where the emotional swing is almost hard to process in real time. 1 second you're imagining the winner's speech. The next, you're watching a player try to hold himself together while the noise around him belongs to someone else. And yet, this is also why so many golf fans admire Tommy Fleetwood even more after days like this. Because he didn't hide. He didn't duck the cameras. He faced it. He said he felt gutted, upset, angry. He admitted he'd love to go sulk somewhere. But he also said the worst thing he could do would be let a week like that become a negative for the future. That matters. In a sport where disappointment can become identity if you let it, Fleetwood chose perspective. Not fake positivity. Not some polished, empty answer. Real disappointment. Real honesty. Real resilience. And maybe that's why this story lands so deeply. Tommy Fleetwood's search for a PGA Tour win is no longer just a stat. It's a journey fans are emotionally invested in. We've seen players with less talent win quicker. We've seen players with fewer scars carry lighter Sunday baggage. But every time Fleetwood gets close, the support around him seems to grow, not shrink. Because people recognize the truth that golf reveals better than almost any sport. Your value is not always confirmed the moment you deserve it. Sometimes you have to keep showing up while the game keeps testing you. That's the deeper meaning here. This wasn't only about a missed putt. It was about what fans see in Tommy. They see class. They see fight. They see a golfer who could easily become bitter, defensive, or broken by these near misses, but somehow keeps walking back into the fire. And if you love this game, you know how rare that is. Golf will embarrass you. It will humble you. It will make you question shots you've hit 1,000 times. But every now and then, it also shows you character. And Fleetwood keeps showing it. So yes, he was one shot away from disaster. And then this happened. A painful finish. A brutal reminder of how unforgiving golf can be. But also something else. A reminder that some careers are defined not just by what they win, but by how they carry the losses. Tommy Fleetwood didn't get the trophy that day. But somehow, the story got bigger. More human. More memorable. More real. And this is why stories like this matter. Because golf isn't only about who lifts the trophy at the end. It's about what the game asks from people before they ever get there. Tommy Fleetwood's moment hurt because it mattered. Because fans cared. Because deep down, a lot of us still believe his day is coming. When it does, it won't just feel like a win. It'll feel like release. So let me ask you this. When Tommy Fleetwood finally gets that PGA Tour win, do you think it will be one of the most emotional victories golf fans have seen in years? Let me know in the comments. And if you believe golf stories are about more than scorecards, stay with it.